hear me? Ready? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our November meeting of the Republican Club of the Villages. At this time, I'd like to call up Jerry Prince to do our Pledge of Allegiance.
Everybody will stand. Oh, I don't have to have that. Everybody's going to say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. David Andrus, are you here tonight? He is not here tonight, so I will give the invocation. Please bow your heads. It's going to be short and sweet. Heavenly Father, thank you for the huge win in November, the November election. We would like to also thank you for protecting our country and giving us the leadership that we so deserve. Amen. Everybody that's a member should have gotten a copy of the minutes of the last meeting. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Mr. President, motion to accept the minutes as written.
Motion, do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Membership report, we have 198 members. Not including whoever showed up tonight that joined. Did we get any tonight, Linda? Did we get any new members tonight? Yes. Okay, we're at 200. Woo-hoo! That's awesome. Those two new members, can you please stand? Let's give them a hand. Thank you, gentlemen. Can I have all our veterans please stand and be recognized? Thank you all for your service. All right, this is going to be short and sweet, but let's get to it. Well, it appears that the big red wave actually happened this year. We won the presidency, the Senate, and the House. Talk about the trifecta. Woo-hoo. I'm excited to see what these next 4 years will bring. It took a lot of hard work on our part as Republicans to get them elected, but now the real work begins. The borders, immigration, the economy, the wars in the Middle East and Ukraine, and so many other things need to be turned around, but we now have the people that are willing and able to step up and make those changes. I'm sure you've all seen the picks that President-elect Trump has made for the cabinet, and I believe that once they are confirmed, things will move along rapidly, even with the far leftists still in both houses of Congress. We still have to deal with the Chuck Schumers and the Bernie Sanderses. Nevertheless, we will still prevail. You guys, I just don't really understand the left's logic. If any of you do, please explain it to me. Why wouldn't anyone in their right mind want a secure country or a booming economy? Do they want their constituents to pay $7 for butter or $6 for a dozen eggs? I know I'm tired of these high prices. Major media outlets didn't help by spreading their lies and disinformation, and people just believe it. I'm kind of surprised, but not really, that the likes of CNN and MSNBC haven't been sanctioned by the FCC. Now, a quick story about me, election day, and a Democrat. Sounds like the beginning of a joke, right? It kind of is, but it's a true story. I'm sitting out here at Ezell, campaigning for Phil, along with a detective from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. From the parking lot walked a gentleman carrying a couple chairs and a sign. I could see he was struggling because of his age, but he made it up the curb and onto the sidewalk. His wife was walking even slower and was about 25 feet behind him. She attempted to step up the curb. She lost her footing and fell to the ground. I immediately jumped up along with the detective and went to her aid. We asked if she needed medical assistance, but she refused. As she laid there, I looked at her husband setting up a chair for her, and I could read the sign. It said, Harris Walls. As my attention went back to her, she agreed to have us help her up into the chair. As she stood, I grabbed her arm and helped her into the chair. Once she was seated, the detective left, and I also started to pack up. And she goes, "Are you also a police officer?" I told her I had been, but now I'm retired. Then she said it. "You're a Republican, aren't you?" Here we go. I said, "Yes. Why?" She then just said, "Just to satisfy my own curiosity, as a law enforcement officer, how could you possibly support a candidate who is so anti-law enforcement?" I felt like saying, "Did you hit your head on the sidewalk?" But instead, I told her I didn't want to get into a political argument. But since she asked, I told her, in the nicest way I could muster up, that she really needed to get her facts straight and that it was her candidate that supported defunding the police, not Donald Trump. I don't think she cared for that answer, the look on her face, but I continued on anyway. I asked her if she's better off now than she was 4 years ago, and she said, "I think so." I told her I wasn't, and the majority of the country is thinking the same way. I asked her again if she needed any further assistance or any medical help, but she again refused. I then wished her and her husband well, and I left. This is sad. This is the kind of garbage that the liberals and the mainstream media are telling the people of the United States. And it's got to stop, and it hopefully will. I was kind to that person and nicely explained my opinions on the election without being the jerk that I know I can be. Just ask my wife. I hope that I made an impression on her that changes her opinion of us as Republicans and human beings as well. So much for my soapbox. Now, we have some old business that we have to attend to, and that would be nominations for the executive board. Now, the only people that are allowed to vote for the executive board are the current members, and as you walked in today, you should have received a ballot. Now, last month, the current slate of officers was nominated from the floor in a motion, and a second was made. There was no vote on the motion, but the motion is still open. As I said last month, we're coming up to the end of the year, and the elections of offices are tonight. We are accepting nominations from the floor tonight, so if you feel that you'd like to run for office, and we wouldn't hold any animosity against you because we're all Republicans, there's no Democrats in this room. And we're not having a meeting next month, so our first meeting for this club will be in January. So, that being said, do we have any nominations? Yes, sir.
Can I suspend this for a second?
Yes, sir.
Those two ladies standing at the door.
You want me to introduce those two ladies standing at the door? I could do that. Well, come on up here, ladies, whether you like it or not. Oh no, you're fine. Ladies and gentlemen, these are my two oldest daughters. This is my daughter Kim, our pastry chef, who makes all the cookies and all the goodies that we've had every meeting. And unbeknownst to me, apparently everybody else knew, but not me, today's my birthday. I knew it was my birthday. But this is my daughter Ashley, and she lives in Chicago. And I was talking to her earlier today. She didn't make mention of the fact that she was coming up here today. So this was a real surprise. This was truly a birthday gift worth having, to have both of my girls here. Now, I wish my son could have been here, but he's also in Chicago, and he's got a family to attend to. Now, Kim, being our pastry chef, she also does cakes. She does, you name it, with pastries. If you ever need anything for a party, for a get-together, whatever, contact her. She will be more than happy to help you out in any way she can.
I have nothing to offer.
Yeah, well, except the fact that you're here.
Happy birthday.
That was a huge surprise. Thanks, Hud. Okay, back to old business. So if anybody would like to nominate somebody or nominate themselves for office of president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, speak now, please. No one? No one? Miss Edna? Do I have a second? Second. Do we have a nomination for vice president? Do we have a second? Second. Do we have a... Do we have a second? Second. For treasurer. Well, if nobody else will, I would like to nominate Linda Montalvo for treasurer of, wow, everybody seconding. Do we have any other nominations? Do we have any other nominations? Do we have any other nominations? I have to ask 3 times. Hearing no other nominations, the nominations are closed, and being that there is only one party, there is only one person for every office, I'd like to have a motion to accept the slate for 2025 as is. Second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Darn it, I was hoping somebody would be opposed.
Congratulations to all.
Unfortunately, our Vice President Phil's a little under the weather, so he couldn't be with us tonight, so I'm going to have to call him before his wife does to tell him he's going to be Vice President for another year, whether he likes it or not. Okay, I've got a couple announcements. Actually, I have two written down here, but I'm going to give you three. One, as always, guests are limited to only 2 meetings before they must become a member or no longer attend. And secondly, if you're enjoying the sweets and the coffee, donations are greatly appreciated, but not mandatory, and there's a donation box next to the water over there. And third, hold on. And third, I already mentioned it, but if anybody wants Kim's information, either ask her or see me after the meeting, and I'll be more than happy to give it to you. And fourth, come on up, Miss Linda.
As membership chair, I just wanted to mention that we'll ask everybody who wants to be a member for 2025 to re-up in January. Those dues are what pays for this room. And we do rent the room because the little room was too small for us as we got bigger and bigger. And we want to open it up to people in Lake County. There's a lot of you here from Lake County and also from Middleton. We want to be inclusive, and we need a bigger room. And so the rent is expensive. It's a couple $100 each time, and that's what the dues goes for. So if you could just bring your money again and re-up in January, we'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dues are $15, yeah. The dues will still be $15 for 2025.
And normally, we wouldn't be in this room, we'd be in the big room, but we got ousted by chair volleyball tonight. So I don't know if anybody here is into chair volleyball, but they're playing it in the next room. I don't know. Okay, on to our guest speaker tonight. Or, I'm sorry, our guest speakers tonight. We have a nice couple from the Big Brothers Big Sisters, and they have a great presentation for you tonight. There's Nancy put papers on everybody's table, so if you get the chance, please read it, take them home, and if you need more, Nancy or Carl will be able to help you out. So let's have a round of applause for Nancy and Carl, please. That one's for you. This is for you.
Oh, fine. You take it off if you want to.
Can you hear me? How's that work?
Hold it closer.
I think this one works better. Good evening, everyone. Oh, good evening. Does that sound all right? Okay. So I'm Nancy Larger. My guest with me is Carl Muller. He works alongside with me, volunteers alongside. Anyway, I work for Big Brothers Big Sisters in Sumter County. We fall under the Big Brothers Big Sisters of Tampa Bay. We cover 9 counties, and I cover Sumter. There's 3 of us that work here in Sumter County. We've been around for over 100 years. We're the oldest mentoring agency in the country. We're in every state in the country and other countries as well. We have also been around in Sumter for 8 years, and Big Brothers Big Sisters of Tampa Bay, who we fall under for 60 years this year, since 1964. So we are the oldest and the best mentoring company or agency. So what we do is we mentor children right here in Sumter County. We're currently mentoring about 75 children. in all of the schools, including the charter schools, all the way down to the tip of the county, down in Croom, Webster, all the way down. So we have 2 programs. Well, first of all, our kids are ages 5 to 13, and we start them out that young because we want to get them when they're malleable and impressionable, and are trying to help them before they have bigger troubles as they age. So we start our kids out when they're young, but once they're in the program, they can stay till they're 26 years old. Most times, they stay forever, and they actually end up taking care of their big brother or big sister. So it kind of flip-flops in the role. So a lot of our kids, and bigs and littles, that's what they're called, stay together forever. So what we try to do is ignite the power of the youth. Like we want to give them the opportunity to see that there is things in life that they're not even aware of. Kids only know what they know. The kids, all of our kids are facing some type of adversity. They're recommended and referred to us through the guidance counselors at school. So we'll get calls that the kids are being bullied, peer pressure, grades are dropping, a death of a parent. We have kids that, well, Carl will tell you that their parents are, the father's in prison for life, never coming out. We have grandparents that are raising grandkids. The grandparents are tired raising 4 grandkids. So they're asking for a mentor to spend time with these kids, just to take them to the park, take them to the library, bring them back into the villages, take them for a ride on the golf cart. The villages are nice enough that they give us pool passes, so we can bring the kids in, we can take them to the swimming pools, and then we have a lot of other events as well. But they are allowed to come to your home after the first 3 months. The first 3 months, we want them in the community. We want them outside, in the parks, going to a museum, just being outside, away from the TV and their phones and their siblings. This is strictly one-on-one. One-on-one mentorship. We do have a program called the Big Couples Program. So if you and your spouse are interested in doing it together, you can. You both sign up, you both go through the interview process, you both become bigs and littles, and you can go in together on weekends. I'll tell you, we have 2 programs here in Sumter. Well, we actually have 3, but the one program we have is at the schools. So what you do 1 day a week, you pick the day, say Wednesday. I'll go to school every Wednesday, and you will go and meet your little. Okay, so you'll spend maybe 35 to 45 minutes with your little. You're not a tutor. You don't have to do homework. This is strictly to sit, talk, play a game, put a puzzle together, work on a craft together, take a Happy Meal and eat Happy Meals together. It's a quick 30, 45-minute time. A lot of the schools will let you go out and shoot baskets on the basketball court if there's no one out there at the time. It's always during the child's lunch hour. So it's going to be between 11 and 1 p.m. is when you would go to meet. So that's a 1-year commitment, but obviously you don't go during the summer because kids are out of school. You can keep in touch, call, text, send a letter, whatever y'all want to do during the summer. And also you can still go to doctor's appointments, you can still go on vacations. As long as you let us know, we'll let the teacher know, we let the child know, and everything's cool. So if you want to still go on a 2-week cruise or a 3-week vacation, you can do that. The only people that we don't take are snowbirds. And the only reason we don't, obviously we would love to, but these kids don't have continuity in their life now. So that's what we want. We want continuity, and if we have a snowbird that's gone for 6 months, well, then the child's without anybody for 6 months. So we can't take a 6-month snowbird, but we can take a 3, especially if it's in the summer months when school's out. So that's our school-based program. We have about 25 right now on a wait list. We have 40 actually total, at least 40 on the wait list. It's split down the middle, boys and girls, about the same, 20 and 20. But we're in we really have a need, and we could have 140 on the wait list, but we won't take them because we don't want to disappoint them. We've had kids that have waited over a year for a mentor, and every time they see the other mentors at school with their shirts on and they're doing fun things, and they're like, hey, well, where's my guy? You know, so we don't want to disappoint them. So right now we have about 40. So that's the school side. You get to pick the school. We're at Wildwood Elementary, Wildwood Intermediate. We're in all the charter schools like Panosofsky, Webster Elementary, South Sumter Middle, all the schools. So our second program that we have is a community-based program where you go to the home and you pick them up. So you call the parent or the guardian, say, hey, I'm coming to pick Joey up Saturday morning, 9 o'clock. We're going for a hike in the woods. And that's what you do. And you go, you pick them up, do whatever you want with them. I mean, there's certain things you can't do, like motorcycle riding, paragliding, you know, crazy stuff you can't do. No, sorry. Horseback riding, you're allowed to do. So anyway, that is a minimum of 8 hours a month. But let me tell you, it goes fast. You can put in 8 hours on one Saturday. Carl's little plays sports, so he goes, you know, on a Wednesday night to watch play football. So that's an hour or two right there. It's really easy to rack up 8 hours in 1 month. It's a 15-month commitment for that program as well. Same age, same everything. So how you become a mentor is fairly easy. One-page application, front and back, and 3 references. Once we get that, there's a 1.5-hour orientation virtually online. It's really good. I do it. Anyway, you have to watch that. It's a quick video, or not video, it's live actually on Zoom. Anyway, once you complete that, then we come to your house, we interview you. Very lengthy, 17 pages long. The reason it's lengthy is because we don't just take anybody. Safety's first for our children and for our adults. So we go through your background. How were you disciplined? How was your family life growing up? How did you discipline your own kids? You know, we're trying to see if you're going to be a good fit for these children. We'll ask you all kinds of things about the kids. Would you feel comfortable working with a child that has ADD, ADHD, someone that's been sexually abused, physically abused, emotionally abused, somebody that has a physical handicap or a mental handicap? Like, there's a whole list. And it's okay to say, no, I'm not comfortable with that. This is what I want. I want someone laid back, active, quiet, talkative, sports. You know, I want someone to go play sports with, to do things with. Anyway, so we go through this whole big, long interview. It takes about an hour and a half. And then we fingerprint you. We do a complete level 2 background check, FDLE, Department of Juvenile Justice, MVR, DMV, sexual predator check, you name it, we do it. So once we get all that put together, then we decide if we feel that you would be a good fit, and you become matched with your little. You get an option. We can call you and say, we've got 3 boys, 3 girls. Here they are. Here's their background. Here's their story. Do you think one of these kids might work for you? And then at that point, you get matched. And one other thing that really works well for our agency, and the reason it works, is we have continual support from us. You do. You have our phone number, our email. You get a newsletter every year. You see us at school. We come, we ask you, how you doing? How's it going? You reset little goals. Something simple as teaching a 5-year-old how to tie their shoes. Simple goals. Teach a young man how to introduce themselves, shake a hand, tie a tie. Simple things. We have events where we did a dining etiquette class here at Harvest. Fred, FMK, I think everybody knows him. He donated all the food, the room. We had an etiquette coach that came up from Orlando and taught 15 of our children how to set the table, where you put your napkin, how you eat, which fork to use first, things like that. It's great. Like, we do a lot of great events for our kids. Really, you don't even have to think about things to do with your kids, because we do enough of them that you can just attend. We're getting ready to have a bowling party for Christmas. It's at AMF here on Highway 44. The Quilters Guild donated quilts for all our kids. The Girl Scout Club donated PJs and books for not only our kids, but all their siblings too. And then we have the Angel Tree, so they all get gifts. So anyway, it's a few of our events. We have a lot of events. The third program I just want to tell you about doesn't affect you. It might affect law enforcement. So we have a program here. It's the largest in the state, and it's called the Bigs in Blue program. So anybody that is or was in law enforcement, first responder, fireman, anything under law enforcement like that, they can also, we have a separate program for them. Well, it's because it's through a grant and they give us money, so we have this program. But every single school resource officer in Sumter County is a big brother or big sister for us. That's pretty cool. So we have a great partnership with the Sumter County Sheriff's Office, Pat Breeden, everybody, Lieutenant Wynn. Anyway, he pretty much strong arms them all and say, no, you will do this, and they all do it. They're already at school. They're at school. They know who need it. They spend it their lunch hour with Johnny 1 day a week on the basketball court or wherever they want to spend their time. So that's pretty cool that every single one. Oh, and this is him. On that one paper I put, this is Deputy Honecker. All these people are here in Sumter County. These aren't like stock pictures. The one on the other one, these are oh, Carl, you're on here. Carl's on here. He's on here. Anyway, 90% of our mentors live in the villages. Because why? Because, you guys are you and you're retired and you have time. And wow, I used to interview everybody. I've been doing this for 8 years, and you guys have the most amazing background, life experiences, work experience. You have so much to offer these kids just by talking to them and showing them like how you started, where you came from, your trials, your tribulations. Like, not everybody's life is perfect. But anyway, so 90% are from here, but we desperately need more that are willing to drive to the south end of the county. I get calls all the time from the guidance counselor at Webster Elementary. We only have one person that'll go down there right now to mentor children at Webster Elementary, and she's like, please, can you find me? I said, I'm trying. Like, there's not a whole lot in the south end of the county. I don't know how familiar you are with it. There's not a lot of businesses. The people are elderly or they're working. There's just not a lot of people down there that are willing to mentor. Believe me, I'm still working on the firemen in the south end of the county. But anyway, those are our 3 programs. Are there any questions so far before I let Carl speak? No? So I'll finish up after you. Anyway, so let me tell you, Carl is the best mentor we have. He knows he is. And I love to bring him because he can tell you from the heart, because he's been mentoring now for about 2 years? Over 2 years. So he's going to tell you about him and Caleb. So this is Carl Mueller.
It's okay. Thank you, Nancy. And thank you. We really appreciate you allowing us to spend some time with you. And just a side note, on the police and sheriff's departments, they do amazing. They provide, I've been able to get bicycles for all of Caleb's family. He's got 3 sisters and even the mom, and we're getting them a decorated Christmas tree this year. So all those things add up. But like Nancy mentioned, I've been in this a little over 2 years with my buddy Caleb. I live over here in McClure and been in the villages since 2018. And I was still working, but I retired a little over 3.5 years ago. And when I was, my life, I always hated those stories, where kids, especially young boys in my case, were growing up without a male figure in their life, and what a difference, that can make. And now that we've got the time, to do it, it was really one of the first things that I wanted to sign up for, and I was fully aware of Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and in my opinion, there was just no other organization that I wanted to be a part of because of the way they the way they do things and their history of it. But I'm kind of curious, though. You mentioned that the little eventually can take care of the big. I mean, you never told me that when I was, because I got to talk to Caleb. He does not aware of, this is a great program. So, but he's just the greatest kid. And his family, he's got 3 younger sisters. All 4 of them are a year apart, and he's 13. And the mom is 31 years old. So think about that. When she was 22, she had 4 kids. And like she had mentioned, the dad is in prison for life. So, and she is doing an absolute amazing job. I mean, seriously. They used to live, if you're familiar with Wildwood and the railroad tracks along 301, well, they literally lived on the other side of the railroad tracks. And if you've ever been back there, you don't need to go back there. But, yeah, I mean, it's tough. But to her credit, she did want to get them out of there, which she did, and now they live in an apartment complex, which is literally across the street from the school. So much better, much more comfortable for them to be outside, and 'cause she just never felt they could be outside, you know. And so they were limited on what they could do and where they could go and how they could play. And even when we got on bikes, you know, they really couldn't ride around by themselves, you know. She had to be, you know, with them basically. So, you know, there's just different environments, different than maybe most of us, you know, grew up with. And it makes a big difference, you know, in showing up, you know, for them. But, you know, one of the things that when I was getting into it, though, to be honest with you, I was nervous, you know. I mean, I was a little scared in some respects, excited, you know, because I know I wanted to do it, but I just didn't know what my role was going to be. You know, I mean, I've got 2 kids. Going to have our first grandbaby in April, so boy. Every guy wants a boy. So, but you know what that means in terms of being a grandparent. You know, I'm sure for many of you. But it's been a while since I've had a 13-year-old, and you know, Caleb's black. You know, I don't know if my role is a grandparent, a father, an uncle, a friend. You know, it was really how do I start this thing with them, you know? And again, Big Brothers is great, you know, with helping you with that and giving you ideas and, you know, things to talk about, questions to ask, things to do. But one of the things that stood out to me was, I actually had read an article prior, but they had published one like it as well that just indicated, you know, when you're with kids, the main thing starting off with them is just having fun with them. You know, doing things that they like to do. You know, we threw the football around, we played basketball, things like that. Because then once they are comfortable and you're doing things with them that they enjoy, then they start getting comfortable with you. They start trusting you. And then things start opening up, you know, then the dialogue can grow and the questions can be, you know, enhanced and asked and, you know, and so forth. So that's really how I approached it. I tried not basically to overthink it. I just, like Nancy said, you know, the majority of it is just showing up and showing up consistently and trying to create habits, you know, and I'm telling them, you know, even about showing up on time. You know, the old adage, you know, you be there 5 or 10 minutes early or else you're late. You know, but I work hard at just demonstrating that, you know, so whenever I pick them up, you know, it's always early. You know, I always let the mom know that I'm on my way to pick them up, things like that. So, because while you're out there and you're doing things with them and the questions do ask, you know, you have then those opportunities to share life experiences, to share, I call it situational training. Things happen while you're out there together and you can share values, you can share, you know, integrity and the value of that and the importance of that, and, you know, you can start having those kind of discussions with them. When after our 2-year together, we celebrated with them, and so I took them go-kart racing, and then we went bowling. So, but go-kart racing, and I smoked them. I mean, it's a life lesson. I mean, he's not going to beat me at anything that I can beat him at. He's going to have to earn it. Exactly. So, some of those basic things. But on the way there, it was right before the election. And, I said, yeah, I got the election on Tuesday, and he started asking questions about it, about the different parties, the Republican, the Democrat, and told him why I was Republican. And well, then he started asking me about the amendments on the ballot. Holy crap. I mean, I go, way to go, Caleb, right? So, but, it's just those things, that come up that you get a chance to start kind of peeling back the onion and starting to have kind of discussions, in that regard with them. To be what? Oh, yeah. I mean, again, you forget what they don't know and what they're not exposed to. And we were watching TV, and we were watching, there was a commercial and so forth and whatever. But he didn't realize that he could be president. He didn't realize that what opportunities there were to be president. I said, well, Caleb, you can be president. I says, you have to be 35 years old, but you're an American, you're born here, once you turn 35, you can be president. No reason you can't. It's those simple things, right? So anyway, when the first meeting that I had with Caleb, I took him horseback riding. And I knew it was a gamble, but I figured, what the heck. So there's a place, I don't know maybe if you're aware of it, just straight out 44, and it's not very far, little ranch out there, whatever, but you can take people horseback riding. So we were signed up, another couple was supposed to be going with us, but long story short, it ended up just being Caleb and I, and we were hanging around, and he was kind of hanging close to me because, he was a good sport, but he was scared, and excited, but scared. Well, they gave him the biggest horse. And I'm thinking, I went to the lady, I said, I appreciate that, but are you sure? I mean, she goes, yep, because he's the most docile, easily handled horse you could ever imagine. I trusted her, I hadn't been around horses. And so we took off, and I was in the back, he was in the middle, and the lady, who was fabulous, we were just through this nature area, and it was fun to watch him because he was kind of tense in the beginning, but shoot, after a while, he's just going back and forth like he's down home on the range, and I thought, this is pretty cool, right? So the only thing that wasn't really cool was we were supposed to be an hour. It was an hour and a half. I don't know about you, but an hour and a half for me on a horse was that was maybe a little long. I wouldn't recommend, going that long. Yeah, well, I was just wanting to walk. So, but it was great. Yeah, absolutely. But we've had a lot of fun. I mean, I've had him over. We've watched Packer games together. I got him converted pretty much. He was a Dallas fan initially, but I got him converted. And you guys don't have anything after this, right? Because I do have a story I can tell you about the Packers. Now, I'll make it quick, but I love it. Because I was taking him to a movie, and this is when he was a Dallas fan. This was a couple years ago, and Packers were playing Dallas. And I got permission because it wasn't quite 90 days yet. You got to be with them 90 days before you can have them at your house. But it was just shy of that, and they gave me permission and talked to the mom and everybody, and we were off to a good start. So I'm driving and I said, hey, Caleb, I said, Packers play to Dallas. You want to come over and watch the game? He goes, yeah, that'd be great. And because he's sitting in the back seat, he couldn't do that until he's 12, to come up to the front. And he was quiet, and then he goes, we should have a bet. I said, I think that's a great idea. I said, well, what should the bet be? He goes, well, I think the winner gets to crack an egg over the head of the loser. I said, I think that's a great idea. Well, if you remember, if you're a Packer fan, they had lost 5 games in a row up until the Dallas game. And so I literally, I've never in my life rooted against the Packers until they played Dallas. So he was over. We were watching the game. Of course, he fell asleep for half of it. But I woke him up. Packers won, 31-28 in overtime. Game was over. He's sitting down over on the couch, and I looked at him and I go, well, here we go, Caleb. So I got up, went out in the garage, backed out the car, put a chair, in the middle so it'd be easy to clean up. Got a garbage bag, ripped the bottom of it open so I could just stick his head through because I wanted to make it easy to clean up. And so while I'm doing this, he's in the kitchen, and he's pacing. My wife tells me he's pacing back and forth, and he calls me Mr. Carl, and my wife says, "What, Caleb? You want me to talk to Mr. Carl? I mean, we don't have to do this, And he goes, "This is why I love this kid." He goes, "No, because if I'd have won, I'd have done it to Mr. Carl." So sure enough, I got a video of it. If we had the video thing, I would show it to you, but it's priceless because my wife came out and she videoed it, and we got him in the chair, and he's got the bag over him, and I got the egg. I said, "Okay, Caleb, I'm going to count to 3." And he goes, looks up and he goes, "Is the egg hard?" And I go, "I don't know, Caleb." So I'm going to count to 3, and I go, 1, 2. He goes, wait. He goes, "Is the egg hard?" I go, "Caleb, I don't know. I haven't done this before." So I started off again. I go, "Okay, here we go, all right?" And so 1, and on 2, I let him have it. And and it was a good one because it splattered, and he was a good sport. Got him all cleaned up, took him in the bathroom, and put his head over the tub, had the pull-down hose, and cleaned off his head. But it'll be a memory that, for us, at least for us, for me, it'll last forever because I've told the story a million times, but it's just fun things like that you can cherish, with them. And the other thing that came up was, for me, is I didn't realize how many people that you impact just from that one person. Because it was only a few months that I was with them, because I started with them at the end of August, that they invited us to their Thanksgiving. Well, their Thanksgiving was a tent. Again, it's on the other side of the tracks, but it was in the back of one of the ladies', I think an aunt's house. And they had a TV, big screen TV in there, but they had a lot of relatives from different areas and friends that were over there. There was like 20, 30 people that were coming through there. But they all knew that I was Mr. Carl. It was only 3 months. And they had all the fixings, the turkey and the ham, and I had chitlins for the first time. I had collard greens for the first time. But it just was an eye-opener to me that even like when I go to his football games, he's in Pop Warner, and the kids on his friends on the team, knew who I was. So you're impacting more than just an individual. And I'll leave with these last 2 things. There's some golden nuggets, that happen, when you spend time with them, because you get attached. I mean, I know they promote not having to spend money on them and do things, but you do. I mean, it's just hard not to want to take care of these kids. I mean, and I love doing it. I mean, we're cautious about it. We do it, very limited, very matter of fact. But there was one time I picked him up. He hopped in the back seat, and he just said, "I love you, Mr. Carl." Gets me every time. But he said, we're doing things that I've never done before. And And then there's this one other time, whenever I'd pick him up, many times, you know, his sister or sisters would answer the door, and I know all of them. We do a lot of things together. And out of the blue, he comes running through the living room and jumps in my arms. I mean, I'm sorry, but man, it gets you. So I can only say that I know we're retired. I know there's a lot of things to do in the villages, but I can tell you, there's nothing more rewarding to spend 8 hours a month, which is literally a drop in the bucket, to change the direction of an individual's life. It's priceless. So, thank you. Any questions?
Any questions for Carl? Yes.
How old was the kid? He was 11. He's 13 now. So he goes to Wildwood Middle School. So he just get in 7th grade and he's transitioned to the middle high school. You know, so yeah.
Anybody else? Question? Okay. How did I get involved? Well, I got involved. I'm a veteran. I was in the military. I don't know how it happened, but it's like I always gravitated to public service and really didn't realize it. It's just what I like to do. Prior to working with Big Brother, I was a stay-at-home mom for 25 years. I raised my kids here in Sumter County for 20 years of the 40. So I knew the demographics. I knew what's out there. I know how poor Sumter County was until the villages expanded. This was the poorest county in the state back in 1995. Number one, every school in Sumter County is Title I free lunch. But anyway, so I worked for Catholic Charities. My kids went to St. Paul's in Leesburg all the way through, and Trinity Catholic in Ocala. So I kind of got in with the church, and I worked for Catholic Charities and set up the first Catholic Charities office in Leesburg, and I was the emergency family assistance caseworker, so I was helping people then. People, you know, their kid was sick and in Shands, and they needed gas carts and hotels and things like that, and they were getting evicted and they needed their rent paid and electric. And I can tell you, there's people that use the system. We all know that, and when the cynicism comes in, you have to leave. But I always said that my motto was I had to get through the greedy to get to the needy. And if you can do that and go home every night and sleep good and get back up and do it again, and some did get over on me, but not many. But anyway, so then I went to work for Habitat for Humanity in Ocala as development director. Didn't like that. But anyway, it was okay. But then I got hired by Big Brothers Big Sisters in 2016. And that's where I've been ever since. So yeah, I don't know. My kids, so I have 4 kids, and my daughter said one day, she's a nurse. My kids are perfect, by the way. And she said, Mom, you need to go and you need to adopt kids. And I said, are you crazy? I just finished raising y'all. And she said, well, I'm going to tell you what. I see these families that come through these hospitals, and I can't believe it. And she said, I don't know what you did with us, but you did something right. So you better hurry up and go out and find more kids to help. So I do feel like, I used to wait for one to fall on my front doorstep for a while, and that never happened. So this is my way to help children the best way I know how. And I can see the rewards in these kids and their faces. And they all graduate, and we give out scholarships, and they go to college and trade schools and become cosmetologists. And they do cool things. And by the direction that's given from us and from our mentors. Truly. Any other questions?
I will tell you this. On the presidential, when I talked about the different parties, he did say that he's a Republican. gotta plant those seeds.
Yeah, that's just because he wanted to go horseback riding again.
That was after.
Oh, I just wanted to say one more thing. We're doing, well, I never ask for money. I don't even like to ask for money because I just want your time. But this is Christmas. And we haven't, this just came, I just got it today, but this is our Deputy Honecker on the front. And if you guys do, I want to say a couple things. But anyway, you can always make a donation if you want. And there is a foundation that's going to match every penny that we get between now and December 10th. But I also wanted to say that if you want to mentor, you have that's my phone number, my email. Please call me. I usually meet for coffee. Bring a folder with the application and all of that if you think you might want to do it, or even wait till the first of the year, which it won't happen till then anyway. But if you don't, maybe you know a neighbor, somebody from church, your spouse, that maybe would be interested, please take the papers, take it home, pass it out, give it to somebody that you think that might be interested in it. And if you're a member of any other club or organization or church that would let me come and speak, I would love that opportunity. Again, my information is all there. So thank you so much for having us. And he can tell you a story too. Tell him what you did to me.
What? She did. She showed up to a meeting in September because I did tell her to show up. But being that it was an election year and I'm going in 30 different directions, I completely just lost it. And she shows up and goes, "Well, where's my time?" I went, sorry. And then at because she called Jerry and Jerry yelled at me too. But we were here at in this rec center, just in the other room where we normally have our meetings, and we were here for the Lifestyle Expo, and I was with another group, and lo and behold, she's across the room, and I'm like, God, I hope she doesn't see me. Laser beams right at me. She comes walking over. She goes, "I need to talk to you." And I'm like, I'm sorry. I was afraid for my life at that point. She can be very intimidating. And I do apologize for that because this is a very worthwhile organization. I know my youngest daughter was involved with it in college, and kind of like a mentor thing. But this is, I think, especially after Carl's story, I think it's a great thing to get involved with. So if any of you can, or anybody knows anybody that might be willing to do it, contact Nancy, because again, this is really, really important. We're in the twilight, of our years, but we need to mentor the up and comers, the people that, and like Carl said, he said he's a Republican. That's a good thing. We gotta train these kids to take over where we left off. So, last but not least, I need to call Jerry Prince up here. He would like to say a few words.
What am I going to say?
You're going to talk about next year.
Oh, yeah, that's good. I knew there was something I was supposed to say. So, I'm the program director for the club here, and we'd like to, is that the reason it's doing that? Anyway, I'd like to get some input from the people that are here tonight on what you would like to see in this next year, in 25, for guest speakers, people twiddling their thumbs or whatever they want to do. So if you have anything you want, please see me or call out now, and I'll write them down.
He knows a lot of people, so I know we've already talked to Congressman John Temple from our district, and he said he's willing to speak.
Contrary to popular belief, we will not be able to get Donald Trump, so don't ask for that one.
We tried, but he's a little busy.
Yes, sir. Can we get him? Absolutely can. I have his personal cell phone number. Right now? No, you can call him. He's in Washington right now. So. Yes, sir. Okay, Rubio will be, someone will be appointed by the governor for that. The other two, since they were just elected, and there's 2 years before they get elected again, there will be a special election for that. Probably, I'm guessing, the governor sets that up, but I'm guessing it's going to be like end of January, February, March timeframe. There'll be a special election for those two slots, for Waltz and Uncle Matt. Yes, ma'am?
Okay, before I found this wonderful club, I was going to the one up north.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So they had a speaker there, and he spoke about, what's the word? I'm like, I should have thought it before I talked. No, not that. You know how we say the ocean is shrinking? That's it. Okay. There was somebody there, and I guess he's come to a lot of clubs, and he spoke about climate change.
Right?
He was wonderful. Okay. Is there a way we can get him here? Because I've told a lot of people about him, and they want to hear him speak. He would take a non-believer and make him a believer.
Okay.
He was absolutely
I
wonderful.
don't remember who that is, but I know who those people are. I'm sorry?
John Shushek of the Weather Club. He speaks it once or twice a week at his other team.
Yeah, he had graphs, he had diagrams, he was extremely, extremely knowledgeable.
Okay.
Like I said, anyone who is a non-believer, he would convince them that there is climate change.
But that is not anything that we can do without, not related to carbon dioxide or anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, and then I
Okay.
have a question. This
Wait,
came up at,
well, just
okay,
1
I'm
minute.
sorry.
On him, he's with the weather club here in the,
Correct.
what?
He's so good, yeah.
She said that already. Yes, ma'am. What was the
Okay,
next?
so now here's my question. We talked about it before the meeting started. So last night we were talking about the crap that Biden's pulling with the war. And my son said the reason he's pulling that is if there is a war, that you cannot change presidents. And of course I said that's wrong. I tried to Google it. I couldn't get a good answer. This morning I was talking to my sister and she said the same thing. If there's a war, you can't change the president. And then my husband and I had a big disagreement, and he goes, no one is going to change a president in the middle of the war. So my question, I don't know if anybody can answer this because Google couldn't. If there is a World War III or a war, will Trump still be sworn in on January 20th?
Yes.
Okay, now I could sleep.
And there's not going to be a world war because everybody's already backing their butt up. Even Russia is. And the president of Ukraine is already starting to say, all right, we're going to start negotiating. Otherwise, we're going to be in trouble with this man. So there's not going to be a world war, and Biden nor Harris will be the president of the United States ever again. Hope. Well, we know Biden won't because he won't remember that he was to start with. I'm sorry? Good luck with that after this mess she caused. Yes, sir.
One of my concerns of the Republican Party is that we see some low-quality Republicans representing our party.
Right.
And one of my hopes for this group is that we can make sure that the people we vote for are strong Republicans, not wishy-washy ones. I can name some names. We all know who they are. And
We know at the national level, and we know some local level, and it's like that way too.
Yeah, so I don't know, you're asking for topics for
Right.
meetings. That's something, I don't know if that's exactly a topic per se, but I think it's incumbent on us to make sure that we are sending really excellent representatives from our district at the state level and at the federal level to represent us.
I agree. One of the reasons we get that is some of the good people don't want to put their butt on the line for the news media to crucify them for something they did when they were 2 years old, which is the bad news that they have to put up with. Yeah, but that's one of the reasons I think, the United States Army took me to Washington, D.C., and I don't know that I'll ever forgive them since I spent 30 years there then. But so I used to travel, and one of the things that people go, "Oh, you're from Washington? Let's talk about politics." I said, "Whoop, time out. Politics here and politics inside the Beltway are two different animals. We don't want to talk about that with inside the Beltway because they're idiots. So if you want to talk about politics here, we can do it, but that be that as it may." One of the things we I always push is local, because the local people, when they're elected, they're the ones that either raise or keep your taxes or lower your taxes. So commissioners, the sheriff, and all those kind of guys for locally is what I like to push. And there's a good thing for that, because for the most part, if they become a commissioner and they have any desire to stay in politics, the next thing they're going to do is go to the state. And from the state, they're going to go to the national level. So if we can push that, I always try to push that because of that reason. A lot of times here, we have commissioners that are retired or close to retirement, and so they don't have the aspiration to do that a lot. But we have a young man by the name of John Temple, who's our representative, Blaise Angolia, who's our state senator. And I don't know if everybody saw it, but our state committee woman sent me a video the other day. They were in Tallahassee this week swearing in the new people from both chambers and all that. And our state senator was doing the Trump shuffle on the floor of the Senate in Tallahassee. Really, really funny. It said, "Blaise, that's Blaise for you." Yes, ma'am.
Do you know that John Temple was a principal at a high school here in Sumter County?
John Temple has not only been a principal at a high school, he's been a principal at all levels, and a teacher at all levels. And he now works as the vice president of Lake Sumter College. All right? Yes, sir.
Maybe in about a year, maybe we could hear from Superintendent Jordan Brown.
Yesterday was his first official day.
Yeah, he was sworn in last night. Well, we may not have to wait a year for him. We'll give him 6 months to get his act together, and then we'll see.
I'd love to have Corey Mills, but I doubt he's doing something like this.
Corey Mills, all right?
I would like to see him as the vice presidential candidate with Vance.
So if we could look at that, can we get Corey Vance, or Corey Mills? Yes. I have his personal cell phone number too. And he owes me a favor anyway.
We need to hear the story on that.
Oh, no, can't tell you that. Anyway, good man. Yes, sir. I'm sorry? Oh,
And there was a gentleman who was talking about the Constitution. I think that'd be real important that we can really get somebody who can explain the Constitution and how it works.
okay.
Because a lot of people are under the impression that we are a democracy and the Constitution we're a republic.
The only people I know that says we're
I know.
is those guys in the blue
Yep.
uniform.
Yep. But I think it's important that
Yeah.
people really know what the Constitution really is.
Right. All right, I don't know who that was, but I know a couple of people that knows the Constitution pretty well, and a couple of professors. Yes, sir.
Nice to have a series of, like tonight we'll talk about the first 3 amendments. Next month we'll talk about 3 more, something like that, so that way.
Well, that's all year, because there's 27 of them.
Yeah. But I mean, that'd educate us.
So much for
because-
Corey Mills and Logan Brown, hell with them.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
I'm kidding, I'm joking. All right, but yeah, all right, the Constitution, I'll find some people. There's a professor from the University of South Florida that I know knows that pretty well. Mark
Anyone
Levin.
else?
We don't want
Anybody?
that crumble here. They'll arrest his butt. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, anyone else? Any other things, topics, or people that you can think of? So you mentioned earlier Dan Webster. People don't realize who Dan Webster really is. If you don't look at history, Dan Webster was the first Republican Speaker of the House in the state of Florida since Reconstruction. He's one of the reasons that the House and the Senate and the state of Florida is now Republican, and he still, to this day, gets calls from people in Tallahassee on how did you do this or how did you do that. I tell him all the time, I said, you're not a Byron Donalds. You're not, if you want to hear from Byron Donalds, we can have him come in. Because I know somebody that knows somebody, we can get him. I know Byron. And the good thing is we can have him this next year, because the following year he's going to be pretty busy. He may be our next governor. So that would be a good one to have. He's a fantastic speaker. Anyway, back to my story about Dan real quick. I tell him that I consider him to be the quiet congressman, because he just works behind the scenes and gets things done. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, it may not be big enough this time. Take the mic.
Asked from people, and I really and truly appreciate this. I really do. I do not know if some of you understand that if maybe Jim does this with this club, you can charter a bus, get a group of people, and go to Tallahassee, to the Capitol, and watch your House representatives in action.
And your senators.
And I apologize. Yes, because we have Senator Blazin and Golia with, if you go on YouTube, you watch him do the shuffle. Yeah, I'm not lying to you. I am not lying to you. The first day, the very, very first day of starting, our own senator in CD 11, Blazin Golia, got right in front of the Senate, and they named, they're doing roll call, and he gets up and he goes, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, there must have been 10, 20 people taking videos, and it's all over YouTube. So now he doesn't live it down. The first thing I said is, Blaze, I've known you for years, and I know you cannot dance. But really and truly, it is an eye-opener. It is an eye-opener to get on a bus with a bunch of like-minded people, as you are, to go up to Tallahassee for one whole day and watch the House rep and your senators in action and exactly what goes on. And then you get on the bus and you come back home. I'm just throwing this at you, Jim. I know you're going to kill me for that. But this is something that is viable as a group. And it's very, very rewarding. And the thing that is really rewarding is that our own Senator Blaise Ngolia and our own House Rep, John Temple, would really appreciate seeing, watch them.
Well, one of the things, if you go up, that happens, both of those guys we can coordinate with, and they'll meet with you while you're there and answer your questions, what's going on.
Yeah, that's a great.
I went up there for a session 2 years ago and met with them, and
Yeah.
it's fantastic to see you. All right, who else? Anyone? All right.
Anyone?
Thank you for the input. We'll work hard on this and get this happening. So.
Thanks, Jerry. Well, we've come to the end of another meeting. We're not going to meet again until January. And let me pull out my phone here and I'll tell you when the next date is. It's going to be in our old room, the big room next door there. And it is going to be on January 22nd. So mark your calendars. Doors open at 6:30, meeting starts at 7. And I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday season. Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and Christmas is only 35 days away. It's 7 o'clock. Doors open at 6:30, meeting starts at 7. Any other questions? Can I get a motion to adjourn? Second? Good night, everybody. Have a safe holiday. Are you? That's cool.
From sea to shining sea.